Hi folks, going to do something slightly different today and try a comparison test of iced coffee or iced milk coffee flavoured drinks. I drink quite a lot of cold coffee with milk in the summer at home, and when I was in Japan last year I was interested to find that you can get coffee from vending machines. Even miles from town you can find vending machines. Lack of vandalism obviously helps, and they dispense little bottles, aluminium bottles like this. You can get black coffee, milky coffee, you can get it with and without sugar, and the machines are very clever. They dispense it either hot or cold. These are actually quite good for water bottles when you've finished, and of course they're completely recyclable. The downside's that it's very hard to find a good espresso shop in Japan, but there you go. Back in New Zealand I thought I'd have a look and see if there was anything similar, but there really isn't, despite this is actually made by an offshoot of Coca-Cola, so you'd think it would be available all around the place, but it may just be a Japan only special. But anyway, we do have a range of cold coffee flavoured milk drinks here in mainly takeaway sized packs, and they're mostly in plastic bottles like these ones here, which is good. You can recycle those even in New Zealand. So I decided to do a bit of a taste-a-thon, and thought, oh, might as well do a comparison video, see how it went. I will put up a table a little bit later, just summarises a few of the facts and figures on the amount of fat and sugar in these things, because there's quite a bit more than you might expect. The sharp-eyed of you may have noticed that there's a Lewis Road Creamery chocolate milk lurking in the back there. That's because I I tried as hard as I could, but I could not find a coffee version. So when I do, I'll update it in a little comparison video, because it certainly sounds good, and I suspect one of the reasons that you can't get it is because it's always sold out. So we'll start off with the Puhoi Valley, which is really a bit of an outlier. This is from the chiller, and my one had about 2 weeks before the best before date, so yeah, this isn't something you can keep for long. Now, this is the upmarket offering from Fonterra, and it's clearly targeting the Lewis Road iced coffee. I think there was a bit of a stoush between them when Puhoi Valley came out with milk that looked suspiciously like the Lewis Road Creamy version, or at least Lewis Road thought it did. This seems to be a version of coffee flavoured milk which is very heavily based on the successful Lewis Road Creamery chocolate, in as much as it's got a lot of sugar and a lot of fat. The Lewis Road Creamery chocolate milk won a couple of taste comparisons, but they did notice when they did those comparisons that it was both the sweetest, it had the highest fat content, over 5 times as much as some of the others, and it was the most expensive. So it was hardly surprising that it tasted good. This here has 10 grams of fat per 100 mils, which is nearly 3 times the Lewis Road version, and it's over 7 times as much fat as you get in the Nippies. So it's very creamy. It has 88% of your daily recommended saturated fat, so you don't want to be drinking a whole heap of them. It also really tastes like it. This is made for people who have a big dash of cream in their coffee. And indeed, if you check the ingredients, it does actually have cream in it, and it's the only one that has cream in it. They rate the coffee intensity at 3 out of 5, although quite what the scale is, I have no idea. It's not explained. It does have the best coffee taste, I think, but as someone who normally drinks trim cappuccinos, you really struggle to get past the creaminess of this. You really have to like a lot of cream in your coffee to think that this is a refreshing drink. On the good side, it's only got milk, cream, sugar, and coffee extract in it, so that's definitely on a plus. On the downside, there's just those stats that the sugar, the saturated fat, it really means it should only, if you do like it, it should really only be a treat. And probably I'd suggest you share one if you possibly could. Honestly, I struggled to drink that, and I wouldn't be buying it again. Next up, we've got the offering from Tararua. This is one of these big 600ml bottles. This one again comes from the chiller. Mine, I bought all these within 2 days. This one had about 10 days before the best before date. This is a Goodman Fielder, so that's the big competitor to Fonterra. And it's clearly designed to compete with the other Fonterra product, which is the one at the back here, the Mammoth. It's the equal largest, 600 mils, so that's really quite a big takeaway drink, and it's just slightly more expensive than the Mammoth. It's got 0.5% coffee powder in it, plus some artificial flavour. There's no artificial colouring, which is good, but as is pretty typical of these, there's not much coffee flavour. I didn't find any real coffee hit at all. Slightly lower sugar level is appreciated, but honestly there's not a lot going on here. The main thing that the Tararua has is that there are no artificial colours, because that obviously upsets some people, and it's a big amount of drink for the money. Again, I wouldn't buy this one again, but I would recommend it over the Mammoth. Next up, we've got the V-iced coffee. Now this is again slightly unusual. You don't find this with the milk drinks, where you normally find your coffee, chocolate, banana, etc. flavoured drinks. This is with the energy drinks. So this is with the V and all those other bits and pieces that have the guarana and what have you. I've probably mangled that, but there you go. I don't drink it very often. This is almost as big as the Mammoth at 500 mils, and it's even sweeter, and it tastes really sweet. Pours pretty much the same colour, and this might be useful because it does have quite a long date. Although you'll find it in the chiller, this one was good for another 8 months. There's a whole heap of stuff in here. There's acidity regulators, stabilisers, so it's definitely not the health food option. But I suspect anything with a big green V on it isn't going to be aimed at the health food market anyway. It's the only one made from milk powder, and it's flavoured with coffee powder. So this really is, the main ingredient in this is water. I guess the main reason to choose this would be that you get everything at once. You get the guarana, you get quite a lot of calories in it, and you get the caffeine hit. They say that there's a good espresso's worth of caffeine. They also do warn you that you should only drink one a day. It's not suitable for children, not suitable for pregnant women or lactating women. So there you go, you have been warned. It tastes vaguely more of coffee than the Mammoth here, but to be honest, I really can't see this appealing to anyone except the energy drink crowd. So let's have a look at the Mammoth. Again, this one's from the chiller, had about 2 weeks before the best before date, and this is the mass market drink from Fonterra. The fancy version is the Puhoi Valley. It's the equal largest with the Tararua there, and it's interesting. This is the strong or double shot version. I tried the original version, but honestly there was so little coffee flavour that I just went straight out and bought this double shot version. It's certainly slightly darker, but one of the reasons for that is that it's got 4 artificial colours in it. And I mean, come on folks, this is really disappointing. This is from Fonterra, the big farmer co-op, meant to be promoting clean green New Zealand dairy farmers, and they've got 4 artificial colours in their iced coffee. Disappointing there. It's 0.7% coffee extract plus some artificial flavours, but to be honest, it really didn't taste a lot like coffee to me. Could be because it's just under 9% sugar, so this has got almost an extra teaspoon of sugar per 100 mils. Again, I honestly can't see anything really to recommend this apart from the fact that it's cheap and large. Perhaps your dairy farmers might be keen on it, buying sort of one for the team or what have you. Onto the Nippies. This is slightly different in a number of ways. It obviously comes in one of these foil-lined cardboard packs, and this one's from over the ditch in Australia. It's also from the chiller, but it is UHT milk, and so this will last a long time. This had a best before, which was over 10 months away. And so with the square size and the long life and the fact that you don't have to put it in the fridge until you open it, this would probably be the best bet for taking away on a camping holiday or something similar. Tastes very, very similar to the Tararua. There's a mild coffee flavour. I'd say that it'd probably be a good choice if you like it. It'd be a good choice as a lunchtime drink. It's only a couple of dollars, relatively small serving size, and relatively easy to carry around. The downside does have some artificial flavour in it, and this is by far the most environmentally unfriendly packaging. Plastic straw here on the front. They're a known killer of marine life, and they're being discouraged in more and more places. You don't really need a straw most of the time, and if you've got a good EDC knife, you can just slit the corner here and drink it straight from the pack. So maybe one for the Australians or perhaps the camping crew, but yeah, again, not one I can really recommend. One that's slightly out of left field perhaps is this one here. This is the Little Island Coconut Creamery Coffee Coconut Milk. It's a bit of a mouthful, but it's definitely the one I enjoyed the most. It's from the chiller again, but you find this one with the milks. So it's not with you won't find it with the takeaway drinks. It's with the full size litre and 2 litre bottles of milk. This also comes in a 1 litre container, and they have a variety of other flavours. Best before date over 3 months away, and so that's obviously quite handy. And it does, but it does need to be kept in the fridge. So you can't. It's not like the Nippys where you can keep it out of the fridge until it's open. It needs to be kept in the fridge the whole time. Easily lasts 5 days once opened, which they say use it within 5 days. We found it lasted 5 days easily. The other problem with this is that it's not always in stock. It's not as bad as the Lewis Road, which I couldn't find at all, despite looking for it for 3 or 4 days. But it's only stocked by New World, and they quite often don't have all of the flavours all of the time. So you need to bear that in mind. But this was the surprise of the taste test, and I have to thank a friend who strongly recommended that I try this. And it really is the find of the bunch. I must admit, I do really like coconut flavours. I get through a fair few pina coladas during the summer, but this is generally not the sort of product I'd go for. It's a little bit hipsterish. It's dairy-free, soy-free, gluten-free, vegan. There's no GMOs. It's fair trade. Half the ingredients are organic. They're really trying very hard here to appeal to that green hipster crew, and I suspect they're succeeding, judging by the difficulty of actually picking it up. But it's just a particularly nice drink. It's not the lowest in fat, but it is the lowest in sugar. It does have a nice, mild, pleasant coffee taste, and the creamy coconut taste gives it a really excellent mouthfeel, and it just makes for a very pleasant, milky drink, despite the fact that there's no dairy or milk in it. And it's completely different. Despite having a real creaminess to it, it's completely different. If you're familiar with the creaminess of coconut milk, it's quite different to the sort of sickliness of the Puhoi Valley cream added to the milk. So yeah, I highly recommend this one. So would I buy it again? Absolutely. It comes in these 380ml bottles. It also comes in a 1 litre bottle, so no reason why you couldn't buy a 1 litre and tip into your favourite drink container to take to work. The Lewis Road one looks very much like this, obviously, but has fresh coffee milk as opposed to chocolate milk. As soon as I get one, I'll have a try and update you. It certainly looks good in the specs. It's got far less fat and far less sugar than the chocolate version, and so it should well be. Hopefully, it'll be up there and in front of these other coffee flavoured. With the summary, I'll attempt to refocus the camera onto that. Take the prices with a grain of salt. Like anything, the prices vary from day to day in a supermarket, and so you can never be 100% sure quite whether they're going to be the same today as tomorrow. And obviously, if you buy them at a dairy or a cafe, then they're likely to be a bit different. If you're used to a good coffee shop's iced coffee, then these are really going to disappoint. I'm not sure if you can see that very clearly on the video, but that's a couple of shots of espresso from the local cafe and a bit of low-fat milk in a keep cup, which is what I've quoted here as the homemade 50-50 coffee. And that's an excellent drink, I must admit. So in the table here, you've just got the amount of fat, grams per 100 litre, saturated fat, the same, sugar, the cost in New Zealand dollars, the size of the pack that I tried, and the price, and just a few other notes. The Puhoi is obviously the only one with cream. The V iced coffee is the one with guarana. The Nippy's is Australian and has got UHT. The Little Island coconut drink's obviously the only dairy-free one. The Lewis Road is yet to come. And I've just included some figures from Lewis Road milk homogenised to give you a comparison with these drinks, just to see how much extra fat and sugar you're getting if you decide to drink these things. I think you generally would want to only drink these occasionally. The big downside with these is that you really don't get much coffee flavour, and they've all got some sugar in it, unlike the ones you can get in Japan, where quite often there was no sugar at all. In fact, the majority of them seem to have no sugar at all. I also compared these to what I have at home, and like I said, it's a couple of shots of espresso topped up with milk in about a 50-50 mix. And I'd choose that any day of the week over these store-bought products. Obviously, you can't always be at home to make it, but mixing a bit of milk with a bit of coffee is not difficult. And to be honest, even if you make a strong mix of instant coffee and water and then cool that down, mix that with milk, whatever it is you like, I think you'll end up with a better product, more tailored to your own tastes than you will using one of these pre-prepared ones. I did have a go making the coconut milk drink at home, but that's actually a lot more difficult. There are 3 different emulsifiers which they've used to get the drink as smooth as it is, and simply diluting coconut cream doesn't have the same result. The emulsifiers are all fine, they're all mainstream products. In the actual Little Island version, they're 2 of them are organic and the other one's non-GM, so they're obviously trying hard. And you could buy them, but they're not cheap and not that easy to get hold of, and it would definitely be a lot more effort. But like I said before, the good news is that you can get it in 1 litre bottles, and it keeps pretty well. So who would like these coffee flavoured drinks, and who is it that's buying them? I suspect that it's the person who likes a mild latte or flat white, and by that I mean someone who gets one of those large-sized flat whites or lattes in a bowl with a single shot from somewhere like Starbucks or Muffin Break, where the coffee's very mild, or weak if you want to be slightly critical, and tips in a couple of sugars. If that's you, then by all means, these drinks are probably going to be right up your alley. As a comparison, I prefer my coffee in a small cup, double shot cappuccino, and so these things are just a faint echo of what I'm usually used to. So yep, I don't think I'll be buying many of these again, but I definitely will be having the occasional Little Island coconut coffee every so often, and enjoying it very much. I hope some of this was useful or interesting, and that you're enjoying what you're drinking at the moment. Cheers.